Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today we're going to take a look at Flintlock. That's the guy you can see on screen right now, and as always I'm going to show you some gameplay in the first half of the video. In the second half of the video we're going to take a look at the Pyrite's mutations, equipment and everything else. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. What this character is going to be about is we are actually taking a look at an idea that was postponed by you guys in the comment section. So I should, or my mission was to make a pirate cosplay character, and obviously using the black powder pistol on this occasion. By the way, we had a server crash and I just had to restart the video, so if at some of the locations that I usually visit not all of the enemies spawn, you should know that is basically the reason. Maybe they're gone. But anyways, back to the video. So yeah, we're using the black powder pistol, and we're going for a pirate kind of vibe. Now, when it comes to pirate character in terms of visuals, I'm actually quite pleased. There's really some very good ways to do it. I'm super happy with how the character turned out all overall, and yeah, there's just straight up a pirate costume that you could use, but I actually didn't like it too much. I did use the hat though, which is really cool. And in terms of an outfit, I'm using the Floorwalker outfit. It's just one of the coolest looking Atomic Shop outfits that was out there so far. And overall, yeah, the aesthetic obviously works out well. Now, does the gameplay too? And well, I gotta say, I'm pretty pleased with it. It's a lot of fun, and I wasn't too surprised, to be honest. I mean, I have used the black powder pistol in the past. I always have liked it, and despite a lot of people not really being a fan of it for very obvious reasons, it's a very slow firing weapon. You have to really use maneuvering in order to deal with bigger groups of enemies, and you know, it's a cumbersome weapon. But on the other hand, there's quite a few things after, if you're playing with a black powder pistol for like 20 minutes or so, there's some reasonable assumptions you would make, and some of them might be wrong. One is that it's not really good boss weapon, boss killer weapon, meaning killing tougher stuff like Myler Queens and such. But I always felt like when it comes to be it sorry, be it the dragon, be it any of the Flintlock weapons, black powder weapons, sorry, it's not that bad, to be honest. They're actually pretty good, and that's for one simple reason, which is that there is kind of an exploit, because there is a glitch involved, where if you're just using it and spamming while reloading, spam the shoot button, which is something you will just automatically do because you're waiting for the reload to be done and want to shoot as fast as possible, there's a very solid chance that you will get more than one shot off. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing about it, meaning that very often with a single reload you will find yourself shooting 2 to maybe 3 times at an enemy, and this can really lead to some very serious DPS when in a sustained fight with an enemy, which is a ton of fun. So here you see it. I will for the rest of the video just go for tapping the trigger all of the time, so you will see this happen time and time again. Very often it is overkill, especially talking about stuff like the Scorch and everything, but yeah, in a lot of situations it's not really overkill, but actually exactly the thing you want. And another thing about this build that usually I don't do, I will use consumables, but the intention behind it is that I wanted to do something very special with this build. So, I mean, on paper it's a pretty straightforward build, right? It's a gunslinger build, and the most interesting thing about it in terms of typical gunslinger stuff is that I really wanted to go for very high perception, which in the end paid out. Because one of the things that's really important when it comes to black powder weapons in this game is you obviously want all of your shots to connect, as much of them as possible. I mean, as always, this is just something that, yeah, go for a bloody build and basically your worries are gone because you're having such high perception you're always going to hit. And yeah, on a full health build though, you really have to put in some effort. And usually when a gunslinger, when you build a gunslinger, I mean, you always want to have relatively high perception, but you rarely will see someone go higher than 6, maybe 9 or something like that, just because there's not a whole lot of useful stuff in perception when it comes to gunslingers. We are obviously going to talk about the perks later, so stick with me there. But yes, back to the actual thing I wanted to say. In order to make this build a little bit more special, I wanted to do a little trick whenever you do a VETS character. I would say the high-end goal would be to get a crit on every second shot, which whenever I'm doing it so far, I typically just get a weapon that has the legendary effect of getting 15% filling your critical meter 15% faster, and from that point onwards you just have to reach 23 luck, which is relatively easy. With the addition of legendary perks as well as legendary armor, I mean the addition of legendary armor, that's a little bit stupid, it was always in the game, but yeah, with the addition of legendary perks, you can now get sustainable 23 luck relatively easy in the game. Is it with under armor, and you get thrill. I mean, we're going over all of that later too. But yeah, you need a weapon with 15% faster critical meter as a legendary effect. And on this occasion, I wanted to use the Pirate Punch just because, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, right? It's a legendary quest event reward for, how's it called, eviction notice, and one of the possible ones anyways. And yeah, it's a black powder pistol called Pirate Punch with 2-shot legendary effect, VETS hit chance, as well as the faster reload effect. We're going to talk about that in a minute too. So yeah, I didn't really get the chance to actually look for one specific legendary effect combination that I wanted, and therefore yeah, I had to work with what Pirate Punch gives me. And I still though wanted to have the maximum amount of luck. And how did I go about this? Well, the easy answer is I went the route that usually you see on bloodied characters, which is you want to get 33 luck. If you're reaching that threshold, you can relatively easily get a crit on every second shot, just because you're trying to use critical savvy, and at that point, yeah, your critical meter fill within a single shot. And holy hell, this fucking Assaultron, like, I actually managed to stay alive for quite some time here. But yeah, I mean, you probably noticed it. I was really I was really struggling fighting and talking to you guys at the same time. So I was a little bit overwhelmed. I mean, I think it's not a big shame to die to this guy on a VETS build. It's just something you have to live with, and gladly one of the rare occasions in the game where this kind of happens, that you fight an enemy you really can't with a VETS build. Effectively it is. I also just should have focused more on it. It was just one shot from dying. But yeah, anyways, back to the topic. Yeah, we tried to reach 33 luck. That's basically a long story short. And what the fuck, I'm crippled. Alright, this really all goes to shit. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of a telling for the build, I would say. Like, yeah, this is just something you have to live with. There will be situations where you struggle, but it's fun, you know? Like, oh, come on. So really what you're seeing here is basically the whole downside to the black powder pistol build. Just equipping it here. Another topic we will have to talk about. Man, there's a lot to talk about here. Anyways, yeah, we were trying to reach 33 luck in order to get a critical on every second shot, which further improves the chance to actually hit on every second shot, and also just immensely boosts our damage. And usually I don't really want to do consumables or builds that rely too much on them, just because, yeah, I completely get if you aren't the type of person that has interest in searching and farming for chems and everything, or buying them on Reddit. Now the reason I did differently on this occasion is that I needed to use one consumable. There was just no way around it, to be honest. Oh, come on, the Soldier is back to full health. Now this will... I think I hit him in the head here. If it was just visible a little longer. No, I get it. And here, by the way, this is what we were talking about earlier with double shots. If they come in, they really boost your damage. And there's a few more robots, but we actually spent a lot of time already, so I want to move on and the video doesn't get too long. There's a fair chance it will get too long just because I have a lot to talk about here anyways, but yeah. I want to have a crit on every second shot for pretty obvious reasons that I explained, and you can get your luck to 30 permanently without using buffs and being high health. And the way to do it is basically 15 base luck, then you go 5 more with legendary luck, so you're at 20. Then you have a shielded vault suit as under armor. I think casual armor works as well, but anyways, you wanted to luck buff from under armor being at 22. On top of that, you will then get the the herd mentality mutation, which gives you 2 extra special stats for each if you are on the team. And then strange numbers. So even though mathematically this doesn't really work out, it actually works like that. I tried it. Yeah, with strange numbers and herd mentality, you're actually getting 3 to your luck, so you're now at 25. And on top of that, you get a full set of legendary armor with +1 luck each. Now, obviously this is a whole lot of investment and a lot of opportunity cost, especially when it comes to legendary effects on the armor, but it's doable. And yeah, then there's exactly one thing you have to do, one consumable, and that's any alcohol. Because there's a perk combination or a perk in Fallout 76 that gives you +3 luck whenever you are under the influence of alcohol, and that's exactly what we needed in order to get to 33 luck. That's what we did. Now on this occasion here, I cheated a little bit. I have one more consumable just because I am on a private world and I don't have any friends within my team. So strange numbers in and of itself can't work. And therefore I used Jelly's Feet, I think it is, for the 1 luck that I'm missing out here. And yeah, obviously you don't have to do that. Now, for pretty much 99% of the time, if you're playing on a public server, you will find a team, and with certainty there will be someone mutated in that team, unless you're playing with maybe a level 1 to 20 character. And yeah, so you can permanently get your 30 luck relatively easily, and the one consumable you need is any alcohol. And with brewing being a thing and there being a ton of easy to craft beers and everything, where you really don't have to do anything, you can just set your camp up, plant some corn and some maize or something. It's really easy to get a hold of a lot of alcohol. It's really not expensive, it lasts forever, it doesn't get bad. I mean, it doesn't spoil, I think you know what I mean. And yeah, you can easily mass produce it. Now, this guy is a little bit of a nuisance here. I mean, these guys can be relatively easy just because they take a little bit of time until they log onto you, in which usually you can take them down relatively easily. But once they unleash, they actually have a lot of DPS, so they're always something to be aware of a little bit. And yeah, so therefore I decided that on this occasion, using a consumable was quite straightforward, especially since there's one more thing, which is I felt Ballistic Bock was working really well here. Ballistic Bock, very easy to craft in my eyes. Obviously every alcohol works on this occasion, but this is easy to mass produce, in my eyes at least. and it gives you a further buff to your ballistic damage, which obviously works out very well on this occasion, since we are using a ballistic weapon, and it does so at the cost of extra condition loss on your weapon. And yeah, that's a very interesting thing about this character here. You know me, guys, usually I really go for convenience when it comes to my builds. I have Gunsmith on very much of my builds, very many of my builds, sorry. And yeah, on this occasion I went the all other round, which is I really did nothing and increased my damage loss even more, sorry, my durability loss, on a pretty flimsy weapon to begin with. That's why you saw me repair my weapon mid-fight with a weapon repair kit. Now, this is also something I typically don't do, just because I know that it can be really inconvenient, and I personally, even though I have a lot of weapon repair kits just lying around, I never really want to play with a character that relies too heavily on them, just because my supply will run out eventually. I don't want to buy them, and I don't use a lot of consumables in video games. So I want to keep the condition of my weapon up as long as possible. But on this very occasion, I did it not for a simple reason. Repairing my weapons is never really a problem for me because of resource loss. It's actually pretty cheap on a lot of weapons. It's just some what is it, aluminum, some adhesive and stuff. It's actually not that expensive. It's just inconvenient, and that's my whole problem. I don't want my weapon to break within a fight and have to rely on the second weapon just because I tend to stick with one weapon. But on this occasion, you actually can do that very easily. The Pirate Punch is a weapon you can find in player vendors very regularly for relatively cheap. I mean, I see this thing all the time for 500 caps in a player vendor or something. So if you're just keeping an eye out open for it, within no time you will have like 5 or 6 of these weapons. They're always the same just because they are a fixed legendary event reward, and it kind of fits the whole pirate vibe. So this is really something, probably the most fun thing about this build in my eyes, is that a whole lot of the gameplay and gameplay decisions that I made turned out to really fit the character narratively very well, like using a lot of alcohol. Now obviously it would have been cool to just use rum here, but I think it would have just been too much of a convenience cost not to use ballistic bog, and beer still worked relatively well in my eyes. But yeah, heavy alcohol consumption works well with a pirate. Having multiple weapons that are cheap and can often malfunction also fits very well. You get the point. In addition to that, I wanted to have very high perception, as I said earlier in the video, and what I did was I was just using a few of the perks that usually you don't really want to use, like Piglock and Penapictographist, or how it is pronounced. And yeah, oh, Black Powder Pistol has been broken. This was a little bit of an old... Have I not played with the Black Powder Pistol with the Pirate Punch the whole time? I think I just, up from the point where I repaired the weapon, I played with... Yeah, I played with a standard Black Powder Pistol. Maybe that's the reason why we had many problems when we were fighting the ghouls after the weapon broke. Who knows? Yeah, anyways. By the way, I just have standard Black Powder Pistols here, not the Pirate Punch, because for the sake of the video I didn't want to hunt them all down and buy them, just so I can show you in one screen that, hey, you can carry them relatively easily. So yeah, I just use standard Black Powder Pistols just to show in terms of weight. It's very easy to do. We actually have a perk for that. And yeah, that's why I repaired the weapon rather than just switching it, which, yeah, is also something I wanted to mention. And yeah, so overall, you see there's a whole lot going on in this build, but just judging from the gameplay, you will probably get what I'm talking about. And my ultimate conclusion, it is a lot of fun. I like the Black Powder Pistol, and for yeah, for the commenter that was actually suggesting it, by the way, I'm really getting the point that you said, hey, you can one-shot level 100 super mutants with the right build, which I didn't do in this video, and it's very much possible. Even on a full health character, it is possible. But it was ultimately not the route I decided to go, simply because I wanted to use the Pirate Punch. That's basically all it. And yeah, other than that, I really hope you enjoyed the gameplay so far, and we're going to go quickly over the mutations and everything, but yeah, ultimately that was my Flintlock build. And by the way, one more notion, I have no clue if this is a Flintlock pistol. So yeah, I'm not a gun nut and not an historian, so in my eyes it looks like one, but I'm not actually quite sure. So if it isn't, please don't rip me apart on the internet. Just, yeah, I wanted to call this guy Flintlock. And yeah, no, I don't want to leave the world. Starting off with our mutations, we do have Adrenal Reaction, Bird Bones, Eagle Eyes, Egghead, Grounded, Herd Mentality, Marsupial, Scaly Skin, Speed Demon, and Unstable Isotope. Quite a mouthful. And actually, nothing too important here. We don't have Class Freak, so we have quite hefty debuffs to our strength and endurance, but ultimately I didn't care too much, and therefore, yeah, I just went with it, and pretty much everything you would expect on a gunslinger here. Bird Bones for more agility, Eagle Eyes for more perception and crit damage, and yeah, Marsupial and Scaly Skin, Marsupial and Speed Demon, more movement speed, faster reload speed, obviously very important on this occasion. Marsupial, better jump height. I went with Scaly Skin and Grounded just because, yeah, a little bit less AP was not too much of a trouble for us. So I lived with it in exchange for a little bit more resistance. And with Grounded, there's basically no downside to our character because energy gun damage doesn't concern us, and it's just free 100 energy resistance. Egghead, since our endurance and our strength already take some debuffs, we might as well go further with that, and yeah, for a little bit of extra intelligence. So this is something you could really live without. However, we do have very little intelligence just stat-wise, so a little bit of a boost here couldn't hurt. And yeah, Unstable Isotope, just flavor here, doesn't really do a whole lot. Adrenal Reaction, as always, you will find yourself at 70, 80%, 60% health a lot of the time, so it might as well be there. Obviously, you can live without it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, other than Herd Mentality, which I already talked about. Pretty important, very important actually on this occasion, in order to give us 30 luck base without any buffs. As I said, on this occasion we do have one buff actually, which is Charlie's Feet, lasting for another 11 minutes. So even if you weren't using strange numbers, even that is relatively easy to do. But you don't have to. If you're in the public world and join a team, you will have 30 luck without any buff. And yeah, that being said, we go over, by the way, another interesting thing here, perception at 22. Obviously 22 is not crazy in this game, but it's relatively high for a gunslinger, and I think it really paid out. I have played this character with like 9 or 10 perception, and you really felt the difference. Now, I know on paper increasing perception is not too crazy in order to boost your hit chance, but in reality it often feels like a very big difference, and especially on this occasion it actually was very noticeable, so I don't regret the decision to do it that way. Talking about our equipment, it's pretty straightforward here because we don't have any modifications. It's just a 2-shot VATS hit chance, faster reload, legendary black powder pistol called the Pirate Punch. Faster reload, obviously very good in my eyes, without any... Oh, it looks like it has a concussion cap and therefore isn't a Flintlock pistol. People will rip my asshole open. I really shouldn't talk like I know about guns, but anyways. Yeah, faster reload, definitely best effect when it comes to black powder pistols and rifles in the game, in my opinion. So really good. VATS hit chance, also very good. there's really not a whole lot that could do better when it comes to a black powder pistol. Now, Vet's crit damage could be interesting, especially since we're doing crits so often, but I actually prefer Vet's hit chance on this occasion, for the simple reason that two-shot, which is the main effect, will decrease your accuracy, and as I pointed out earlier, getting hits in reliably is really a big part of what you want to do with a weapon like this. If you shoot so few bullets or 50 caliber balls within a minute, you really want to make every shot count. And therefore Vet's hit chance, especially with two-shot, is a very good decision on this occasion, in my opinion. In combination with high perception, this really makes sure that even with two-shot you do a lot of headshots. And talking about two-shot, now this is the only thing I would change about the Pirate Punch if I was to do it. Maybe do it junkies. That could be interesting, could be fitting narratively. But something that just increases your damage. Anti-armor would be nice. Instigating could be cool on this occasion. Not my preferred take, but on black powder weapons it's actually still pretty good. And yeah, or aristocrats, something along those lines. You know what I'm talking about. Two-shot just is like 20 or 25% extra damage, which is cool, but not, you know, groundbreaking. And it has its downsides. It has some gimmicks, but on other weapons. And therefore, yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the weapon. And yeah, I think the only other thing in terms of equipment is our armor here. You see one piece is broken, but it doesn't really matter too much here. We still have 326 damage and 351 energy resistance. So well within the realm of diminishing return, so it's quite good. We're pretty much maxed out when it comes to standard armor. In terms of legendary effects, it's a really mixed match on this occasion. We do have one aristocrats piece, which is not at full work due to the fact that we have 25,000 caps. Then we do have autostim. This is nice to have. Exterminators, ghoul slayers, and vanguards, obviously pretty cool, but really the important thing here is pretty much the centerpiece of the build. We had +1 luck on every single character, and for everyone who has ever tried to get a full set of anything when it comes to vault armor, yeah, it's a nuisance. All of the pieces have polymer modification, the chest piece has a dense modification, and 3 of the limbs have deep-pocketed. The fourth one would have gotten the same treatment, but I would have had to server hop and get another modification for just like a few more carry weight pounds. So ultimately it didn't really feel like it was worth it. So yeah, pretty mixed match. As I said, the only important thing here is +1 luck on every piece. And one interesting thing is it is solar armor, so we do get some passive healing. I will make a build that's more focused on the armor, but I just figured I show it for once because it's actually a pretty good weapon, armor, especially for gunslingers or, you know, builds that struggle to keep DPS up and just have to take hits every now and then because they can't take down every enemy all of the time. Which is a fancy way of saying it's a good way to make yourself more tanky, but just due to the fact how it works, meaning it heals you whenever you are about above 60% health. It feels different than just being tankier, which is nice. I really like the armor, and as I said, I will make a dedicated build centered around it a little bit. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the armor. Let's just, might as well repair this one as well. And yeah, other than that, maybe on this occasion it could be interesting. In terms of apparel, we do have the pirate uniform. Let's just look at it. We do have the chemist skull box backpack with the chemist modification, obviously because it's called chemist. So the skin is just called skull box backpack, which obviously fits very well. We do have the Floorwalker eye patch. I mean, there's a few different eye patches here. One very straightforward, one would have been the one with the skull on it. But that felt a little too much for some reason. I mean, that's a lot from someone looking like this, but the Floorwalker eye patch just worked better for me. We do have the Floorwalker outfit, which was also an Atomical outfit, and believe it or not, it came in the same bundle as the Floorwalker eye patch. I really love the leg. That's just basically the coolest thing, and as far as I'm aware, it's the only way to get a tattoo other than on your face in this game. Because as you can see, we have a cool little scorpion here, which, yeah, it's a scorpion tattoo. And the pirate costume head, which actually looks really great. I love it. The pirate costume looks too much like a costume to me, but the pirate costume head doesn't. And overall, the whole aesthetic thing works very well as something you could actually see in the Wasteland. That's just what I really like about it. You can see the pirate in it, but it doesn't seem too off or too gimmicky. So yeah, that's it in terms of equipment. Well, maybe show off our ballistic bock here. 15% extra damage, ballistic weapon damage, but increases condition loss at 15% for 5 minutes. So yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. Sadly, nothing you can do to increase the duration in my eyes, as far as I know, when it comes to alcohol. And yeah, not anything you can do in order to boost this effect, as far as I know. Going over the perks relatively quickly here, Strength, Bandolier for carrying ballistic ammo. When it comes to Perception, here we have to spend a little bit of time. I mean, Concentrate Fire at rank 3 and Tank Killer at rank 3 is pretty straightforward. Tank Killer especially for the armor penetration means more damage with our pistol. This is nice. Concentrated Fire, there could be an argument made for using rank 1 because you're actually not, or trying to get such a high hit chance anyways that most of the time you will hit within a single shot, and therefore Concentrate Fire rank 3 doesn't give you too much of a benefit compared to rank 1. But I wanted to have my perception maxed out and find as much useful stuff as possible anyways here. So yeah, that's why I went with the rank 3, and even then stuff like fighting the Scorch Beast or something, you still feel a pretty distinct benefit from using rank 3 of Concentrated Fire rather than rank 1. Then we have Glow Sight. This is a little bit situational, but it's still in a lot of events, for example, it can help, and every now and then you will find it, and it's just a good bit of a damage boost in certain situations, so it's nice to have. And then we start with the stuff like Picklock, feels rather appropriate for a kind of pirate-based character. And despite the legendary effect, legendary perk, Master Infiltrator being the superior option, if you have exactly this situation where you want to increase your perception but not really know what to do with it, these certainly aren't lost perks. Like, you can use them. It's actually pretty cool to actually have the ability to picklock a lock every now and then. And then the really funny stuff, which I pretty much never have shown before on the channel, and I actually would need to play this character a little bit more with higher audio volume than I use for recording videos in order to really use this, but this basically gives us a directional audio hint whenever we are near a cap stash, a magazine, or a bobblehead, which is one of these things that is pretty cool. Not exactly useful in my eyes, but it's actually cool to have. And I really, yeah, it's funny. It is quite noticeable actually if the gameplay audio is louder. So in this video I haven't really realized anything, but yeah, as I said, that's due to the volume being so low. And yeah, then we go over to Endurance. 4 life giver, a little bit of extra tankiness, and professional drinker, not to get addicted from the alcohol that we are drinking all the time. The addiction wouldn't be the end of the world, would also be rather narratively fitting, just like -1 agility I think, but still it felt appropriate. And since we have a dense chest piece, we actually don't have fireproof on for once. And another perk that usually on this occasion I would have used would be Adamantium Skeleton. But since the discussion came up every now and then that Adamantium Skeleton is not really useful, I decided to leave it out for once. Oftentimes when I had it, it was because I had builds that and tried to reduce the amount of stimpaks used anyways, so it felt rather wrong to have to use stimpaks in order to heal broken limbs when in terms of HP you wouldn't need to use it. And since on this occasion I actually was totally fine with just spamming stimpaks in certain situations, because it also didn't really go against the narrative of the character, I felt like living without it. And I do agree it's not a necessary perk, but I still feel like it's a little bit of a nuisance every now and then. So it's ultimately still one of my favorite perks when it comes to endurance, as long as you're not playing in power armor, obviously, or stealth. But yeah, you can definitely live without it. I didn't miss it too much. Then we do have Charisma, and this is a very rare occasion where I just have strange numbers and happy-go-lucky. What I'm going at here is I neither have Lone Wanderer nor do I have Tender Horizon. Now, the decision was made just because, first of all, strange in numbers, this is pretty important for reasons I explained earlier, which is this in combination with herd mentality and being on a team with a member that is mutated, which is pretty much every single person that can be on a team and therefore your teammate. Yeah, this makes it so you have 30 base luck, and you can get 3 extra luck from Happy Go Lucky with by using any alcohol whatsoever. On our occasion, we're basically always using ballistic bock, but you can go for rum. There's nothing against it. And one initial thought that I had, which when it turned out not to be true, I remembered I have tried this in the past. There's another perk which triples the effects of pre-war alcohol when consumed, and I thought, well, great, this in combination with happy-go-lucky could be a super crazy boost of 9 luck, but sadly that's not the case. Now obviously with ballistic bock it wouldn't have worked anyways, just because that's not considered a pre-war alcohol, but that was my my original idea and using rum. However, no matter what kind of alcohol I used, it just didn't work like that. So therefore, yeah, since there's no other effect we could desperately use from other alcohols that could be tripled by the perk, sadly we didn't use that and only went with Happy Go Lucky for +3 luck while under the influence of alcohol, which is basically the thing that brings us to 33 luck and therefore a crit on every second shot. Whew, quite a mouthful. Intelligence, first aid, pretty straightforward. We do have our solar armor, so in a lot of situations we don't have to use impacts, but this is just good for whenever we do have to use them. And there's a lot of situations, just due to the fact that, yeah, we are shooting slow, we can be overwhelmed by groups of enemies, so yeah. Then we do have agility, which unsurprisingly is at 15. Unsurprisingly, because if you're going for a gunslinger, obviously 9 of those perks go into gunslinger perks to increase your damage, and that leaves only 6 more perk points left to spend in agility, which is a stat that is filled with pretty good perks, no matter the build. There's very rare occasions where you don't really want to go for high agility, unless you're maybe playing a power armor heavy gunner without bats, which probably you do if you play a power armor heavy gunner. But other than that, yeah, there's always interesting stuff in agility. And on this occasion, we went with the classic adrenaline, but only at rank 3, which is something I think I have never done before. But still, it's a pretty good damage buff ultimately of 48% rather than the 60 you could have when maxed out, or is it 64? I'm not even sure. Anyways, still noticeable. If you're killing a few enemies within a minute, you can get this buff. And the reason we're not going for 5 but 3 is something that probably makes your toenails curl upwards. We use packing light rather than maxing out adrenaline here, especially when we could have used Action Boy, which would have been pretty useful, and there's a ton of other stuff that could have been nice, but I actually went with a perk that you probably never have seen in any build, just because it's really not important, which is Packing Light, making pistols weigh 75% less. Now, pistols are pretty lightweight to begin with, and typically you don't have to carry a whole lot of them, so if let's say you have one or two pistols. You're probably talking about, what, if they're maxed out in terms of modifications, probably 14 pounds or something. That's nothing for carrying weapons. Even if you make it 3, it's not the world. But on this occasion, due to the very specific situation that we find ourselves in, where we use a fixed legendary weapon that is relatively common, relatively common to find in vendors for cheap, breaks relatively fast, and we have not invested anything into making it last longer, and even went out of our way to use a consumable that makes them break fast, there's a good chance that you can benefit highly from carrying a lot of these things, putting them on the quick wheel menu, having like 5 different black powder pistols that all do the same. You can just switch between them. You don't have to really overthink your approach. Like, let's say you have one that's not reloading so fast, you have one that's not hitting so well. They're always exactly the same, and you can play for about an hour, play for 2 or 3 hours, break all of them, and every now and then go back to your camp like once every 2 days maybe, and repair a bunch of them for not a whole lot of resources. So that's why packing light is here, and we have to get a little bit creative in order to keep these builds a little bit more different. And talking about different, luck is not. Luck is pretty straightforward. We do have Grim Reaper Sprint, which on this occasion is very important because we have basically nothing whatsoever that increases our AP refresh. We have no single piece of armor with the AP refresh boost. We don't have Lone Wanderer. We don't have even Action Boy. So yeah, the weapon is very action point efficient in terms of action points used per damage done. So very good chance that before you run out of action points, you will refill them with Grim Reaper Sprint. So you can actually live without any AP boost, which is a nice combination here. But living without Grim Reaper Sprint would be really inconvenient. Then we do have better criticals. Obviously, under peak performance condition, meaning whenever we chuck alcohol, we do a crit on every second shot with this character, and therefore boosting critical damage obviously is very good. Then we do have critical savvy. This is the important part, combined with 33 luck. This makes it so every second shot will be a critical. Then we do have Starch Genes to keep our mutations, not get any new ones. We do have Ricochet just to make us a little bit more tanky. No synergy going on this occasion. Our ricochets don't double due to the 2-shot effect, or we don't get any healing like we would with vampires. But still, 18% chance damage reduction on average from ranged attacks is pretty nice to have. And that left us with 1 perk point left, which we couldn't really reduce just because, yeah, we wanted to have as much luck as possible. So whenever there's just 1 point to use in luck, I might as well go with Class Freak. 1 point, still a little bit of a reduction in debuffs. And that leaves us with legendary perks, which 3 boring ones right off the way, sorry. Luck, agility, and perception. Luck, obviously we had 15 base luck, this goes on top of it. Perception, same, 15 base perception, 5 goes on top of it. I think it's not 15, it's 13 base perception and 5 on top of it, how it turned out. And agility, this one I have actually at 12 as far as I remember. So yeah, overall these just give me a little bit more passive. The only important one really is luck. And to the more interesting one, taking one for the team. This is definitely a team-centered build, and you really don't want to play this solo. It actually can't be played solo the same way. So yeah, always being on a team means you always have chance to, when an enemy attacks you, get 40% more damage when they do. And since you're slow firing, there's a good chance when enemies crowd you that at a certain point you will get the damage buff on pretty much every target you attack. Most of the, or oftentimes you don't kill them before they attack you at least once. So you're really taking good advantage of this perk. And then we do have Ward Rats. Really synergizes well with the passive HP healing from the solar armor. And lastly, we do have Far-Flung Fireworks maxed out. Hardly the most important thing, hardly the most reliable perk in terms of damage, but it really is nice, and maxed out it means 20% chance, which yeah, it can actually happen quite a lot. And really, if you're getting lucky, this can help you a lot when fighting targets like hordes of ghouls or something. So there's actually some cool situations, and it's a pleasant surprise every now and then to use this perk, and therefore I still like it despite it not being the best in the world. And whew, I'm really out of breath. Oopsie. I'm really out of breath on this situation. I have talked a whole lot during this video. It was a little bit exhausting for no particular reason whatsoever. But I hope you enjoyed it so far. And nope, I'm always pressing the share button. Let's just take a look, even though I think I might use another thumbnail anyways. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and see you next time. Bye.